Friday to you, and welcome to the Friday Five here on the Agent Survival Guide podcast. This is our weekly list of 5 things you should know about. I'm your host, Sarah Ruppel, and today is Friday, July 17th. As a self-proclaimed story enthusiast who loves remixes, I feel obligated to tell you about something called Typewrite. It's a new way to read and hone your typing skills at the same time. The premise is super simple. Rather than typing boring phrases to get your typing skills up to par, instead, you can type as you read through a selection of classics, including the incredibly long Moby Dick that I still have not managed to work my way through. There are books and stories of varying lengths and levels, and there are also speeches and essays to choose from, because some of those are heavily quoted and misquoted, but are worth spending some time stewing over. Back when I learned how to type, it was the age of ginormous computers. The monitor sat on top of the CPU, so our teachers put a manila folder over our hands in between the monitor and the CPU, so we wouldn't be able to look at our hands while typing. And fun fact, I can take notes and type pretty well without looking down at my hands. But this offers a new creative twist on not just learning to type a little bit better, but also being able to read through some of those classics. And I am always here for different ways of learning. Recently, I came across an interesting article on Insurance News Net that I wanted to talk about. It featured commentary from a few different insurance agents selling Medicare and a snapshot of what's going on that has them frustrated right now. And I know that normally we stick to the positive and solution-oriented side of things here on the show. And we're not switching over to the daytime TV formula, but I do think there's value in taking a look at some of these issues. Because it's not always easy to tell if the things we are coming up against are just a struggle for our business or for the industry as a whole. One agent compared the state of the current market to the Wild Wild West, which I've been hearing that one more frequently lately. But some of the other things mentioned, loss of commission, plan terminations, network changes, higher premiums, and overall client frustration, I know what I've been hearing, and I've heard some of these challenges. But I'm curious what you're hearing out in the field right now, and would you like to hear content around how to deal with some of these issues? If so, let us know. Our email is in the episode notes, asgpodcast@ritterim.com. We would love to hear your feedback on what's going on in the industry, what you want to learn about, and what you're going up against, and how we can help. Blink and you might have missed this one. Last Tuesday, Meta launched a controversial feature on Instagram and WhatsApp, only to pull the feature 3 days later. Muse Image allowed users to pull images from public Instagram accounts and then use those images as references for AI to create new images. And the feature was automatically enabled, so if you wanted to turn it off, you had to manually toggle that feature off. The backlash to this feature went about as well as you can guess, considering it took just 3 days for it to be pulled. And Meta released a statement saying that, quote, "Our intent was to provide a useful creative tool and to give people control over whether their public content could be referenced in this way. We've heard the feedback that this feature missed the mark, so it's no longer available," end quote. Another recent feature that did not miss the mark, multiple captions for carousel images on Instagram. Previously, if you wanted to add separate captions on image carousels, it meant posting an unwieldy caption or trying to keep track of the numbers or bullets and their corresponding caption. Now you just select multiple captions and enter the corresponding caption beneath the image, and the captions change as users scroll through your carousels. Super excited about those, and we will be linking to more information about both of those features in the episode notes. Prior to entering the industry, I remember hearing about the Greenspan Commission, but I would not have been able to tell you anything other than my best guess was that it was run by Alan Greenspan. Fast forward to now, and my best guess is indeed correct, and I've been seeing references to the Greenspan Committee more frequently lately because of a new House referendum, H.R. 9187. The Bipartisan Social Security Commission Act of 2026. Little bit of context here, and we've mentioned this before on the podcast. The Social Security Trust Fund has limited resources, which won't be able to keep up with demand by the year 2032. According to the 2026 Social Security Trustees Report, by 2032, the trust fund will only be able to cover 78% of benefits. And the last time that we were in this predicament, it was the Greenspan Committee that worked across party lines and with then President Ronald Reagan to adjust the retirement age, along with a few other measures to shore up funding. Fun fact, the last time we were in this situation, the Greenspan Committee came together just 2 years prior to funding running short. At least this time around, we're being a little more proactive, hoping to start the process now, 6 years in advance of 2032. Representatives Tom Cole from Oklahoma and Tom Suozzi from New York have joined forces on this bill. They're hoping to create a 13-member commission to address the trust fund issues. The bill outlines who would be responsible for appointing members of the committee, and there are a lot of interesting stipulations included to hopefully prevent the bill from stalling without action. We will be linking to the bill and more info in our episode notes, and we will continue to follow along with it as we hopefully get into committee selections. Last week, KFF reported on their first look at ACA rate filings for coverage year 2027. So far, 16 states and the District of Columbia have filed their rates, which currently come to a, quote, median proposed increase of 14%. Wednesday, this week, marked the last day for carriers to file their premiums, so still a bit more data until we know for sure what the market is going to look like. With potential premium increases and some changes coming to plan structure and the benefits included in those plans, it's really time to take a different approach to selling insurance. We've been talking quite a bit in the past year about making sure you have a diverse portfolio. We've been talking about cross-selling from a few different angles and perspectives. And we've got some interviews coming up that I think are going to be really beneficial for agents on both sides of the insurance industry. Those selling Medicare during AEP and those selling ACA plans during OEP. The fact that I just mentioned cross-selling might have just made your palms get sweaty. For others, you might be locked in right now. You're ready to go. And the reason that we're talking about cross-selling so candidly lately is because I think it gets a bad rap, but that doesn't mean that it's easy to know what or how to do it. We've got an episode coming up that I think is going to change your mindset. So I wanted to give a little teaser of that episode here.
In terms of identifying those people, it's going to be your existing book of business. And that's a really key point too. A lot of people, when you talk about cross-selling or offering other products, we think, I need to find new prospects or new people to work with. Many of these opportunities may already exist in your book of business.
So right off the bat, I love that we don't necessarily need to immediately seek out new prospects or buy a new list of leads. The other aspect of this strategy that I think you'll appreciate is that it goes hand in hand with retention efforts.
What you want to protect changes over time and events. Life insurance is the protection, and that's always consistent. That's always there. Life insurance is always the mechanism that's going to be offering a benefit or a value, right? But the why is always different. The motivation behind it is always different.
So that first interview features Danica Stover and Bobby Neeram, and we will be talking about cross-selling between ACA and life products. But there are ways to apply the strategies that they talk about to Medicare sales as well. And then beyond that, in the lead up to AEP, we've got interviews coming where we'll be talking about using ancillary products to fill the gaps in coverage from plan changes, how to have those conversations, and then completely new to the podcast, we are going to talk about group insurance coverage and what that side of insurance looks like. Lots of great content coming up in the next couple of weeks. So while the reports about the rate filings in the ACA market aren't great, we are going to continue to do what we always do. We're going to look for the silver lining, look for the solutions, and help provide the pathway for agents to continue thriving in this industry. Once again, and I cannot stress this enough, make sure that you are following along with our show so that you get our episodes delivered straight to your listening queue as they are published. And if you have any questions, you can reach out with the contact info in our episode notes. That is where you will also find all the links we mentioned in today's episode. Just a quick note that we will not be publishing a Friday 5 episode next week. I am headed out for vacation and some much needed R&R, but we will be back on July 31st with another Friday 5. And we'll be publishing other episodes in the meantime. Only next week's Friday 5 is affected. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen today. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe out there, and we will see you next week. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an integrity company. This episode was written and produced by me, Sarah Ruppel. Script editing and fact check by Emily Ryan. Podcast design by Urban Rivera. Like what you hear? Follow along with our show wherever you get your podcasts.